some of the takes that you lot are giving, did we watch the same show? Like, it can't be the Arcane that I watched. It can't be the Arcane that I watched. It can't be the one that's on Netflix. Like, it can't be, because you lot are talking about something else. You fundamentally did not understand the story being told here. You don't understand the characters. And it's quite astonishing how many people will say that a certain character is their favorite, and yet you can't even give like good analysis on this character at all. You don't understand the characterization, and I think that is just baffling to me. No, like, you need to go back and watch the show. If we're gonna call her a class traitor, then what does that make Savika? I'm not trying to get into the character wars and everything and who's worse, who's better, but I'm just saying, if you want to do that, then we can really get into it. Like, not a thought in your head. Like, it's like the monkey is just clashing his symbols in your head, nothing going on. It's like, I'm sorry, that isn't what happened. And I don't care if you dislike her character or hate her character. That doesn't mean I have to entertain delusion and delusional talking points, okay? You're just wrong. Like, you're just wrong. Your brain has to be located in your derriere, bro. Like, it has to be located in your ass. You're just annoying. You're annoying. You aren't literate. Like, you don't understand what you're watching. Guys, can we just have a minute of silence, please, for the lighting right now? Because the lighting is impeccable and I look the fuck good. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Okay guys, so today I'm back with a new video, and as you can see from the title, today we are going to be talking about one of my favorite shows that I have watched lately. We are going to be talking about Arcane. This video is actually going to be me giving my very long, detailed thoughts on everything that I think about a lot of people's conversation that they have around Arcane, its characters, just the overall plot in general, and just the mountain of bad takes that I've seen in this fandom. It is genuinely like baffling. Like, it's genuinely baffling. Like, I remember when I first got into this fandom, I literally like thought I was getting gaslit or something, or I thought that were my opinions just like bad? Did I like interpret it differently? Like, these lot have a different version that they've been shown? Like, because I was just so confused. I'm like, some of the takes that you lot are giving, like, did we watch the same show? Like, it can't be the Arcane that I watched. It can't be the Arcane that I watched. It can't be the one that's on Netflix. Like, it can't be, because you lot are talking about something else. I thought, you know what, let me set the record straight. I asked the TikTok people, they said they want to watch this video, that they want to see it. So this is going to be a long video of me basically debunking every single bad Arcane take, like the most popular ones that I've seen just be regurgitated within this fandom, and how I just think a lot of them are complete nonsense and they don't make sense. As you can probably tell from my last video, I have said I have a lot of gripe with this fandom. Like, I just feel like a lot of people, you don't understand the show. You fundamentally did not understand the story being told here. You don't understand the characters, and it's quite astonishing how many people will say that a certain character is their favorite, and yet you can't even give like good analysis on this character at all. You don't understand the characterization, and I think that is just baffling to me. That is crazy. So I'm just going to be talking about all these different talking points that I've seen. I used a bit of Twitter to get some help. I also used Reddit, and I also slightly watched a YouTube video which has been making its circles or making its rounds in the fandom for months. I didn't watch the full thing, so I'm just giving the disclaimer now. I did not watch the full thing. I did try to watch that Arcane was always Centra's video to try and, you know, I guess get more insight on some of these people, like their type of thinking. So we're going to be kind of getting into that also. But yeah, before I get into it, guys, make sure that you subscribe if you're new to my channel. Turn on post notifications if you like content from me. You want to see more from me so you don't miss an upload. I upload every week on my channel. But yeah, this is going to be a long video. So if you want to get your snacks, get your drink. I've got my smoothie here because I've been drinking smoothies lately. So we're just going to get straight into it. In order to make this video more structured, I'm going to be talking kind of like character by character. So hopefully when I'm editing it, I will make like the timestamps so that YouTube adds the chapters so that you can see which section is going to be about which character. But I'm basically going to be talking about different characters. I won't speak about every single character, so if you're expecting that I'm going to give my analysis on every character, that's not what's gonna happen. I'm going to talk about the characters I feel the need to talk about, set the record straight, and then at the end I'll just give overall takes that I've seen that aren't really related to certain characters or just the show in general. So that's how I'm going to do it first. So the first character that I'm going to be speaking about, which is my favorite, my goat, Vi. I'm going to be talking about Vi first. One thing I've noticed with Vi is you have to kind of be careful when it comes to certain people who call themselves Vi fans, because some of them are actually her biggest ops. They do not like her, they don't actually understand her character, so they will just do her a huge disservice in this analysis or their little threads or whatever that they make. Like, you don't actually like Vi Arcane, you don't understand Vi Arcane like I understand Vi Arcane. So we're going to be talking about her first. So the first talking point, I guess opinion that I've seen that has been said in this fandom a lot, is that Vi's trauma was overlooked in the show, or that the writers didn't give enough attention to her trauma. And I personally think that to give that kind of take, now I'm trying to, like, the way in which I'm trying to say this, I don't want it to come across like I'm being rude, but I feel like in order for you to say that, I feel like you might lack some media literacy. And again, I don't like to be one person who just uses these like buzzwords or like these, you know, big words to just kind of, you know, dismiss conversation. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I feel like genuinely Vi's entire arc throughout the show is literally her trauma. That's literally what it is. Her whole relationship with Jinx in the show is quite literally built off of trauma. Like her need to constantly chase after Jinx, all of that. That's literally her entire arc. Her trauma is right in front of you. So I'm kind of confused at the people who say that. I'm not sure if they mean in the sense that they would have liked to see her be traumatized more, but I feel like to counter argue that point, I would have to personally say that it's actually very integral to Vi's character, the way in which she's characterized when it comes to her trauma. She isn't a person who like outwardly shows her trauma in the same way Jinx does. Jinx is a very much more in your face, like very obvious way of like displaying your trauma. And even I actually made a TikTok about this as well, but even the way in which Vi shows or displays her trauma is very much of the eldest daughter syndrome. Like this whole thing of the eldest daughter not really having any room or space to have emotions, to have a breakdown, to crash out. She's just not afforded the luxury of doing that. You know, Jinx, she's young. There's people who are gonna pick up after her or, you know, go after her, whatever. So she has the luxury of being able to do that. Vi doesn't really have any. She doesn't really have the luxury to do that. There's no one who's gonna come and like, you know, pick up the slack for her, or like, you know, like she just doesn't have that type of space to do that. She doesn't really show her trauma in the way I guess that a lot of people would want her to, but I feel like that is intentional. It's intentional within the writing, and I feel like that's why I kind of say that if you have that kind of opinion, I feel like you might lack a bit of media literacy, because I feel like Vi's trauma to me is obvious, and I feel like also just in which the way her story is told, how she not only talks about herself but also her relationship with her sister, just how she views herself, it very obviously shows you how traumatized she is. So I just feel like I don't really understand people who are like, her trauma is overlooked. I feel like you could argue the fandom overlooks her trauma, which I would agree with actually, but I don't think the writers overlook her trauma at all, to be honest. Like, it's literally her entire arc. Her entire arc is trauma. Like, her entire arc is her trauma. Literally during the whole pit fighter like sequence or montage, she literally like, she's not really like living anymore at that point. She literally just rinse repeats the same thing every day. She makes money off of these fights to drink herself to death every day, because she's not living for anything anymore. Like, she doesn't have a purpose. She doesn't feel like she has a purpose anymore, and part of that is also because of the fact that she isn't, being this caregiver towards Jinx, which is kind of how she's been made to feel in her life. Like that's her role, that's what her task in life is supposed to be. She's supposed to look after Jinx. So she feels pretty purposeless without doing that. I mean, she was literally turned into a commodity and was dehumanized by these people. She wouldn't subject herself to that if she wasn't in like a very dark place mentally. Okay, I forgot to mention this in the video because I actually kind of was about to make the point, but I guess I just forgot because I was talking too much. But I wanted to elaborate on the part where I said that it was intentional that Vi is shown or portrayed in this way of, oh, we don't really see enough of her trauma. That is intentional writing because it's part of her characterization. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize that it's intentional that like Vi isn't this person who you see like crash out or you see have these emotional outbursts or you can see like she's outwardly traumatized the same way that Jinx is because of the position in life that she's had. She's had to be this caretaker, she's had to be this caregiver to everyone else. She has literally been conditioned to put everyone else before herself. So she will do the same thing with her emotions. Like she's literally conditioned herself to suppress her emotions. That's why throughout the show, she struggles so much with being able to do what she wants or say what she wants. Like that's literally part of her characterization. So that's why I said it's intentional. There's a reason why she's portrayed like that because it's part of who she is. Like it's what makes her the way that she is. So I hope that makes sense. So I feel like if you didn't properly understand the narrative, that is the reason why you would say her trauma is overlooked because the narrative actually tells you exactly why. I just feel like it tells you in the like I don't know, and it's like people be making me think like am I just like at a different frequency, like my brain is at a different frequency so I can understand these things, or is it actually more complicated than I think it is, or is it actually simple? Because I feel like it's not that difficult. Like it's not that difficult to understand it. Everyone has been conditioned to see mental health or mental illness as like this one way. It's like no, not everyone is just like it's like extremely obvious that they're like mentally ill or something. Like no, some people have actually like they have conditioned themselves to be able to like suppress their emotions so they don't outwardly like express themselves like that. The next criticism that I want to get into when it comes to Vi is people who say that she is a class traitor. Now, I think this one is just an interesting take personally. And my personal response to this one is that, first of all, Vi wasn't happy to join the enforcers. Like, that's another thing that I've seen a lot of people be like, where they're like, oh, I just can't believe Vi would join the enforcers. Like, why would she do that? She was so fine with, joining Kate and, joining the people who killed her parents. And then I'm like, did we watch the same show? Because literally in the first scene, where Kate comes to her and like, falls in her arms and starts sobbing and crying about, her mum being dead and how she wants to, get Jinx and bring her to justice. And, she asks Vi to fight with her, like, let's fight together, let's show them that we're a united front. Vi is literally like, I can't wear that badge, like, I can't do that. She's literally reluctant in the first time that that idea is brought up to her, she's reluctant. Like she's not skipping, happily to go and do it. And then even when she does do it, like she wasn't happy to do it. Like I'm like she wasn't jolly to go and join them. Like yeah, she did it because she felt like she had to, like it was necessary, but she wasn't happy about doing. I just don't get people who be saying that or acting like, she was so excited to go off and join them. Like, no, she wasn't. And the only reason why she even joined them in the first place was because she saw how much destruction Silco was causing, including turning her sister into this killing machine, terrorist, whatever word you want to use. And then also she felt guilty about not being able to stop the violence, the same violence that killed Kate's mother. So it's like she is feeling from all sides, oh shit, like I can't do anything, like I feel powerless. I feel like I can't do anything to help the situation. She feels like that, so there's this kind of personal responsibility that she might feel that I need to step in, I need to help protect Caitlyn, I need to help stop Jinx, I need to stop the violence, right? Because when you even think about it, like, this is actually me now putting myself in Vi's shoes and like trying to understand her pathology, right? In her head, she is constantly, like throughout the show, she is constantly thinking, if I had never left Jinx, if I had never abandoned Powder, whichever word you name you want to give her, if I had never abandoned her, if I had never left her, none of this would be happening. That's literally how Vi feels the entire show. Like, literally, she is drowning in guilt the entire show. The more and more things get worse, she feels more personally responsible because, well, I left Powder, and then Silco got to her, and then she became Jinx, and now she did all this bad stuff, and now she killed Caitlyn's mother, and it's like she still feels this immense guilt. So that is why she felt so personally convicted, or felt so personally responsible to step in to do something about it. That is why she joined the Enforcers. I thought that was very obvious to most people who are watching the show, but apparently not, because this fandom seems to think that, I don't know, she just joined for the fun of it. No, like, you need to go back and watch the show. Watch the show. Outside of the whole, oh, I left Powder, so she turned into Jinx, she also felt personally responsible because she convinced Kate to not shoot Jinx at the end of season 1. And then after that, what did Jinx go and do? Bomb the council, which killed Kate's mother. So again, like, somehow she's still feeling like inadvertently, oh, like it's somehow my fault, I'm somehow responsible, I'm somehow involved. Like, I don't, like, this is literally her characterization, bro. This is literally her entire arc, like her characterization, her constantly feeling guilty and responsible for shit that's not in her control. That's literally her character, bro. That is her character. But there are people like, I just don't get it. They're like dummies who just don't get that. They don't understand that. They don't apply it and try to think about that when it comes to her decisions, when it comes to her arc. That is why I'm so confused when people say that, oh yeah, the writers, they just toss a bag to the side. They just made her like an enforcer, and then like she just didn't have any sort of like personality or arc after her anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, like, what are you talking about? Like, instead of you to just say, hey, the way in which logically Vi's character was going to go based upon the writing of season 1, I didn't like that, because actually I headcanoned Vi's arc and story to go somewhere else. You could just say that instead, but instead, no, you try to find fault with the writers and say that, oh, they just didn't give a damn about Vi anymore. That's why she became an enforcer. That's why she did all this shit. Da, da, da. Like, you are, like, please, just please. Another thing as well with the whole, oh, I don't get why Vi joined the Enforcers, or she's a class traitor. I thought it was obvious that Vi joined the Enforcers because she was trying to stop the I don't know what exactly they're called, the group. the group of like Enforcers and Caitlyn and all them, man. She was trying to stop them from invading Zone, because that was what their plan was to do. Like, this is the thing as well, I don't think people get it. Like, to that city, right, Jinx has basically just done like the most craziest thing possible. Like the stuff that was happening before to Piltovens was bad, right? But bombing the council and killing multiple council members, yeah, they would want your blood after that. So they were ready to go and invade Zone, no questions asked, nothing. Vi got ear of that and they said, no, actually don't do that. Like, we can't, like, you're going to make things worse. There are going to be innocent people who are going to die for no reason. We just need to get to Jinx. We don't need to do, you know, all this extra stuff. That is the reason why she agreed to join Caitlyn. Like, I don't and it's like, bro, guys are here calling her class traitor. And the thing is, even if you wanted to say, okay, yeah, her joining the Enforcers, then, you know, she went to go and like go in her own city and like start rounding up all the Ken Barons and, you know, Silco's people and da da da. Like, she joined the people who killed her parents, whatever. Even if you wanted to go on that, if we're gonna call her a class traitor, then what does that make Savika?
Clock that T. Clock it. Clock that T.
Clock it.
Clock that T.
Clock it.
Like, let me ask the audience.
Don't laugh. You can't laugh.
Let me ask the audience, like, what does that make Savika then? Because to you, man, as well, these same people who wanna Vi as a class traitor, you lot glaze Savika, and it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that she also joined the same man, Vanda. Like all the work that Vanda had done while he was alive, right? She joined the man who killed him, and that killed him, and then worked with him to destroy any sort of progress that was being made. Like, really? Like, I just don't get into it. Savika, the same person who was like, you were friends with Vanda, like, you were friends with him, you were in community with him. So you just didn't give a fuck. You didn't give a fuck that the person who was the leader who you were following right before, like, this man came and killed him, yeah, and then he wanted to completely flip the city on his head. That didn't bother you. That didn't bother you. You were fine with that. So, and this is the thing as well. I'm not even like Savika hater or whatever. I'm like on her case. Like, I'm not on her neck or nothing for that. But it's just weird. Like, don't get on Vi's neck and then proceed to basically ignore like Savika's wrongdoings, because she did the same shit. Like, arguably worse in my opinion, because Vi ain't killed nobody. Vi didn't kill anyone. Savika though. Like, I don't know, Vi wasn't working with people who were doing child labor. Like, she wasn't doing that. So I'm just saying, I'm not trying to get into the character wars and everything and who's worse, who's better, but I'm just saying, if you want to do that, then we can really get into it. Next one I want to address is the people who say Vi is a bad sister, she didn't do enough for Jinx, or she abandoned Powder. First of all, Vi literally spends the entire show chasing after Jinx, after Powder, trying to find her sister. That is what the story is literally about. So, first off, I don't know what people are talking about. Oh, she was a bad sister, she didn't do enough. Chasing after her sister the entire show, that wasn't enough. Okay. Like, I just don't understand. And the people who are like, oh yeah, she should have done more. What more did you want her to do? What more? Like, are we forgetting at one point that these two wanted to kill each other? Like, and then the times where she was trying to chase after her, like, after that, after they had finally brought her down, they took her to, they had her in custody or whatever. Vi tried to get to her, tried to help her. And what did Jinx do? She gut punched her and locked her in the cell. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What more should she do? Like, do you want her to break the bars of the prison cell like a gorilla and like find her? Like, I just don't get it. And this standard is only in place for Vi. Like, Vi is the one who has to constantly do this and chase after Jinx, but Jinx can gallivant around and do fuck all while like
Don't laugh. You can't laugh.
she can do fuck all while everyone is chasing after her. But like, God forbid, Vi's like, I'm kind of tired of this. Like, maybe just this one time, I'm just not gonna, I'm not gonna chase after her no more. And then the guys are trying to say, oh, she's such a terrible sister. Like, oh my day, shut up. Like, bro, you sound obnoxious. Like, I'm sorry, you sound obnoxious. One rule for me, another rule for thee. Like, that's literally what is given. Because why is it she has to constantly worry about her sister and all this shit? But Jinx, she don't have to do anything. Jinx is fine to do as she wants. Vi always has to care about her and center her and chase her though. Like, you sound ridiculous. Like, you sound ridiculous, and I hope you don't have an older sister. I really hope you don't, because you sound like a terrible sibling. That's what you sound like. And the people who say that oh, she abandoned Powder, did you watch the show? Did you watch the show? Did you watch the show? Because we literally see her get dragged away by Marcus, and then she's thrown into prison for like years. Again, this whole thing that you guys want Vi to just bust through like the bars of the prison and somehow find her way out and find Jinx. I just don't understand, like, what is wrong with you? Like, I'm sorry. what is wrong with you? Like, and I just don't get, how do you actually watch the show? You saw all them scenes and you still think this is an appropriate take to give. Like, what? And then people also have to remember, yeah, Vi, literally the next time that she sees her sister is basically hysterical because she's like extremely traumatized, right? And then also on top of that, she's been completely transformed into this entirely different person. And she's now murdering people. Like, I just don't understand. Like, what exactly was she supposed to do? Like, did it was out of her control. It was literally out of her control. And that's the thing. The show is literally trying to show you, the viewer, and also Vi, that it's not within her control. It's not within your control. It was not your fault. It will never be your fault. Like, you can't control these things. Like what happened to Powder was not Vi. It was not within Vi's control. It wasn't. Like, there was nothing she could do about it. Like, she couldn't do anything about it. And the people were like, oh well, she walked away. She left Powder by herself. That doesn't mean that she was gonna just leave her there. I'm like, maybe she just wanted to walk away and like take a breath for a minute. Like, God forbid she wants to take a breath after all three of her family members are died right in front of her. God forbid she wants to do that. Like, I just don't get it. Like, are you man being serious? Like, are you actually being serious? Like, I don't care. It's like, this is literally the story that is trying to be told. That is literally their entire story. Vi and Jinx's story is literally supposed to teach you and show you by the end of the show that everything that happened was neither of their faults. It wasn't their fault. It wasn't their fault. It was not within their control what happened to them. Like, I just don't get it. Like, that's literally the point. That is why they are able to fix their relationship at the end. That is why. That is why. That's even why Jinx, like, she releases her hand, she lets go, because she's like saying to Vi that, like, I forgive you. Like, you don't need to do this for me anymore. Like, it's not your job. It was never supposed to be your job to do this. Like, that's literally what is trying to be shown. Like, that's what they're trying to say. And it's like, like, you guys, you can't comprehend. Like, sorry, you can see I'm visibly getting angry because it's just annoying. Like, it's the most obvious thing ever. It's so in your face, and yet these people, like not a thought in your head. Like, it's like the monkey is just clashing his cymbals in your head. Nothing going on. Okay, so that is it for all my thoughts on Vi. That's the main criticisms that I wanted to address. Yeah, all bogus, just nonsensical. I'm taking a deep breath before I talk about this one, yeah, because it just seems that whenever you mention this woman's name, and that's how you know she's really that girl, because as soon as you utter her name, the girlies are in a tizzy. Their panties are in a twist. Their panties are in a bunch. Like, they hate her real bad. Like, all my days, they are obsessed with you. They cannot get off your clit. They cannot get off your dick. Like, all my days. Next we are going to be talking about Caitlyn Kiraman. If you haven't watched Arcane, yeah, honestly, you probably don't even know, really. You won't really understand what I'm referencing when I talk about the discourse or why her name makes so much noise. But literally, Caitlyn is single-handedly keeping this fandom or any sort of discourse related to this fandom alive. People can just not shut up about her, whether it's positive or negative. People are obsessed with her. They either love to love her or they love to hate her. I personally love Caitlyn. But a lot of people do not like her, and a lot of people are obsessed with her. They cannot shut up about her. And I personally want to talk about a few criticisms that I've seen. There's obviously multiple that people just keep, regurgitating. That's just absolute nonsense. But there are like main ones that I wanted to talk about. So the first one that I wanted to talk about, which is one that I've actually seen in my comment section on TikTok a few times, but a lot of people for some reason think that the writers messed up with Caitlyn not becoming a full-blown villain or dictator. And when I hear that opinion, it just makes me want to roll my eyes, because personally, that is like the loudest way for you to say that you just didn't understand her characterization at all. You did not understand her characterization, because to anyone who actually understands Caitlyn's character, they would know that it wouldn't make sense for her to become a full-blown villain or a dictator, because it's just not within her character. Like, it's just not within her character. She just isn't that kind of person. Regardless of however how bad you want to see her, or whatever, how evil you want to see her, it doesn't change what like the reality is. The reality is that Caitlyn is not this, you know, terrible, awful authoritarian that people think that she could have been or was in the show. She just wasn't. A lot of people are just so blinded by the hatred that they have for Kate that they will literally just deny canon to suit their narratives. Because first off, the whole thing with people thinking that Caitlyn is a dictator, yeah, Caitlyn was the leader of the task force whose objective was to take down Silco and put Jinx away. She was not dictating the entire city of Piltover. She was not telling literally the entire city what to do. She was in charge of that objective, of that department or whatever. She was commander. She was commander. She was not like governing Piltover. So I'm very confused when people are like, oh, she was basically a dictator. I didn't see her passing no laws. Like, I didn't see her passing no laws telling people in the city what they're allowed to do. I didn't see that. Like, I'm just confused on what people were talking about when they say that. And the thing is as well, even with the whole, oh, Caitlyn, they should have allowed her to fully lean into the villain arc or whatever. I just don't, that doesn't make sense, because she was literally like, majority of the time while her and Ambessa were working together, that Ambessa didn't even really like her for real, because Caitlyn kept doing stuff that Ambessa didn't actually want to happen. Like, Ambessa was just ready to go full guns blazing, do whatever she liked. Caitlyn was actually like, no, we actually need to do this with tact. We can't just put people in prison without like cause. We can't just arrest people without like with no reason. Have you not seen any evil like dictators who are like, yeah, I'm not gonna put you in prison unless I have a reason to? I haven't seen that. Like, do you know the funny thing as well is there's actually a man right now who's running America who's putting people in prison for no reason, deporting people for no reason. That sounds pretty similar to dictatorship to me, but apparently Caitlyn is on par with that, because, you know, I also saw somebody on TikTok trying to compare her to Donald Trump. I don't think Caitlyn was doing that. I don't see her deport nobody, but I didn't see her attacking nobody's free speech, but cool. Like, Ambessa was literally using Caitlyn as a mirage most of the time, because there's people who try and say as well that, oh, Ambessa didn't really manipulate Caitlyn. Caitlyn was really like, you know, she did everything on her own volition. She wasn't being manipulated at all. Like, did you watch the show? Did you watch the show? Like, literally, Ambessa was using Caitlyn as a mirage to, I guess, make the people of Piltover feel comfortable, because it's one of their own who's like being the head. Not really, but she's like the head of things. She's in control. So I guess they think that they're in good hands when actually she has ulterior motives. Like, that's literally her entire arc. Like, that is her plot. But there are people who like actively deny that, and it's just weird. And a lot of people as well, I feel like there's so much disingenuous conversation when it comes to Caitlyn's arc in season 2, because a lot of people are displeased with her arc in season 2. That's why they don't like her. And this is not a video for me to try and convince you to like Caitlyn's character or whatever. Like, you can do whatever you want. I don't really give a fuck. Just don't be annoying about it. But there's a lot of disingenuous conversation when it comes to Caitlyn, you know, basically the pendulum swinging backwards when it comes to her and her values. Because I feel like a lot of people, because there have been people who have been on Twitter and TikTok as well, who've been like, okay, well, her mum died. Like, that doesn't really matter though. Like, the other characters, they had people who died and they didn't become, you know, radical or take things too far. Jinx literally exists. Like, hello. Like, that is a wild, like, that's a wildly delusional sentence to make, to say that Caitlyn, yeah, she's the only character who, you know, had like something traumatic happen to her, and she like, you know, kind of became like a little bit too extreme for a minute, when Jinx literally exists, when Silco exists. Like, what are we talking about? But also, I think people forget that for Caitlyn in the moment, yeah, she actually didn't even fully like change her perspective or change her mind until the memorial was attacked. And that's also another thing as well. A lot of people don't know that Caitlyn didn't know in the show that the memorial attack was actually ordered by Ambessa. Ambessa was the one who did that. It wasn't the Silco or the Kembarans or, you know, Zorn people. It wasn't them who did that. But she is under the impression that it is them. And that is another reason why Ambessa is such a fantastic manipulator, because she knew that all it would take is for another way for these people to basically disrespect her and her mother and the fact that she's grieving, right? It would just take that little, you know, that extra push for her to go off the edge. So that's literally what makes her go off the edge. And to be honest, I don't understand why people act like it's not logical for Caitlyn to start feeling some sort of disdain or hatred after that. I'm not saying that she's right to do that, but I'm saying that let's not, like, don't try and do mental gymnastics to try and understand the logic of that. Because logically, if these same people who killed your mother, you're now holding a memorial funeral or whatever to honor her, if you're doing that and then these people decide to come and attack a place like that where it's literally just full of people who are just here to, like, pay respects, right? Nothing nefarious is happening. Like, it's a peaceful thing, and they come and attack it for no reason, and you're under the impression that it's these same people. You don't know that it's this woman who's gonna come and manipulate you. Of course you would start thinking, yeah, these people, they're like, you're barbaric for doing that, because it is. Like, if someone came and attacked the flipping funeral, right, if it was actually them, that would be a barbaric thing to do, because why are you doing that? Like, I don't feel like I don't know. And it's like people's logic, like, it's not controversial or like classist to say that, right? Attacking a funeral is just a low thing to do. Like, I don't care whether you have disdain towards the city or not, right? Just bombing a funeral or a memorial, like, that had children and families there, right? The only reason why you would do that, right, is to just kill people or either just create a lot of terror. Like, there's nothing tactful about that. And the thing is as well, I wasn't even one of those people who was like against Jinx, like, lashing out at Piltover, right? Because these people they are the cause of her oppression. So I get it, but have some tact about it, right? There's nothing tactful about attacking a memorial. Like, there's just nothing tactful about doing that. That is why I was able to understand where she was coming from. Not that I'm saying that I agree with her, you know, saying that they were animals, but it is like, that is a pretty low thing to do. Like, I would completely understand why she would now be like, yeah, these people, like, they need to go away for good, like, I hate them. And people also misinterpret that line that she said as her saying that she hates Zornites. No, she was talking about Silco and his ilk. That's who she was talking about. She wasn't talking about the entire city. Another example of the disingenuous conversation that happens around Caitlyn's character. The show does a very good job at showing you the reason why Caitlyn becomes, you know, this dictator or whatever, why her motivations for it are mostly to bring justice for her mother, to honor her mother, to honor the Kiraman house. Like, that's why she's doing it. Like, that's literally what Ambessa uses as a crutch to get her to become the commander. Like, I just don't get it. Like, I'm not saying that you have to like the fact that that's the reason, but that is very obviously and clearly shown in the show. That is the reason why she's doing this, right? That's the reason why she's doing this thing. But it's like, so many people just read it as like, oh yeah, her mother died and she just went completely like psycho or something. Like, that's not what happened. Like, I'm sorry, that isn't what happened. And I don't care if you dislike her character or hate her character. That doesn't mean I have to entertain delusion and delusional talking points, okay? You're just wrong. Like, you're just wrong. And the next thing I want to talk about, this one is going to be quick as well, because it's not really something that, you know, intricate or whatever, but there's people who still go on with this whole thing of Kate gassed Zorn, she gassed the city, da 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 da. First off, did she use the grey? Yes. But was it towards the entire city? Absolutely not. The writers already confirmed that Caitlyn didn't harm any innocents by using the grey. Not that it was a good idea for her to use it, because her mother had locked that shit away for a reason, because it was unethical to use it, right? She shouldn't have used it. I'm not saying that she was justified in doing so. But the point is, you can't just lie. you cannot just lie and make shit up about canon because you don't like her character. Like, I'm sorry, there's too much delusion when it comes to her character. You people hate her so much that you will just make up lies. You will say shit that doesn't make sense. That didn't happen. That did not happen. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not entertaining nonsense. Like, I'm just not. That didn't happen. The writers already told you nobody innocent was harmed. It was only used towards the Ken Barons. Like, I just don't like, and it's like, why do you want it to be canon that she harmed other people so that you can have like an extra talking point or like an extra point in like the argument? Like, it's just weird. Like, like, why are you treating it like some sort of contest? Like, yeah, I win, Caitlyn actually gassed a bunch of innocent people, so I win the argument. Like, why do you want that to be canon? Like, it's just weird. Like, she didn't do that, so like, don't lie. Like, I just don't get it. And it's like, the people as well, I saw on Twitter, there was just like a very foolish person, I'm sorry, like that, because I don't have anything kind to say to you if you're gonna go to these lengths. A very foolish person was like in a conversation with another fan of Arcane, and they were talking about Caitlyn using the grey, and this person was saying, yeah, the writers confirmed it didn't harm anybody else. It was only used towards the Ken Barons, that Caitlyn was able to control the grey. And this person proceeded to say, no, 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 actually gas can spread, gas, like logically gas will spread, da, da. You can't actually control gas and da, da, all this stuff. And they were talking about real life scenarios and all this shit and like physics and all that. They were like basically using real life implications to explain why in the show, the fake show, the fictional show, the show with magic and flipping Yortals and Heimerdingers running around, magic logically will spread just like it does in real life. But anyways, they were in this argument and then they proceeded to use fucking calculus to explain how gas would have spread.
Don't laugh. You can't laugh.
You just can't be serious. You cannot be serious. Like, bro, are you actually being for real? Are you actually being for real? Using calculus to explain why something in a fictional show, a place that isn't real, in a show where hex tech exists, do you know anywhere in real life where they have hex tech? Like, you're trying to say that, yeah, I used calculus to explain why Caitlyn's, like, her using the grey would have actually spread and like harmed everybody else. You sound stupid. Like, I'm so sorry, you sound dumb. You're doing flipping university level calculations to explain some stupid shit in a show that just isn't, like, it's not canon either. It's not canon. Like, I'm so tired of that conversation as well. There's so many people who keep going on, well, you know, gas does spread, gas does spread. I don't like, why is that so difficult for you to understand? We're in a show where there's magic is in the show. That, like, why are you now all of a sudden real life physics and like real life implications matter? Like, we're using real life logic in a show with magic. But Caitlyn having blue eyes and being able to control gas is what's making your head hurt. Something you just can't comprehend. Like, are we being fucking serious? Like, are we actually being serious? Like, there's no way. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it, bro. Like, if the hex core can exist, if hex tech can exist, why can Caitlyn not be able to control gas in a show? Like, I just don't understand. Ugh, these people. Like, you're weird. You're just weird. Ugh. But yeah, that's just all my thoughts on Caitlyn. Shockingly, I thought I would actually have more to say about her character, but I just feel like majority of like the talking points or whatever, I've said it on my TikTok. I feel like these two are just the main ones that I wanted to speak about there, because I just feel like it's just so much delusion when it comes to her character. And it's like, yeah, I get it, you don't like her, whatever, but like, can we just be fucking for real? Can we be for real when we're talking about her? At least, like, at least do me that. Next thing that I want to talk about is going to be about the ship. Now, the ship that I'm going to be talking about is my personal favorite. I'm the biggest enthusiast for. I'm going to be talking about Caitvi. This section I made it because I actually realized that I had a lot to say about Caitlyn and Vi, but then I realized there was more that I actually wanted to address in terms of like them actually being together, right? As opposed to them as two separate characters, because I just feel like when it comes to their ship, there's a lot more of other like weird criticisms that people have. So the first one I want to talk about is people talking about the scene in episode 8, the scene in the prison cell where they have sex, and I've just seen a lot of stupid discourse about this, and honestly I don't even know why there's any discourse. Like if we're talking about in terms of like analyzing the scene or whatever, or just talking about how much you liked it, cool, but why is there like actual like arguments and shit about this? And it's mainly people talking about the fact that they feel like the scene was distasteful or it was unnecessary because of Jinx. And this is actually something that I made a TikTok yesterday, like complaining about, because someone did it in my comment section again, where they were like talking about, I didn't like Caitvi's scene because of, Jinx was in the cell before and and this this one just pissed me off. And I'm actually in this part as well. I'm going to be addressing something that I saw in that Arcane was with Centrist video. I didn't watch the video all the way through, but there was a particular criticism that I saw in the video that I just thought was like it was just kind of weird to frame it as that way. So in that video, the person who made that video had said that they thought that Vi going down on Caitlyn it was problematic because of the fact that they are from two different classes. So it's somehow subjugating Vi that she is getting on her knees for Caitlyn. And I just thought that that is a very disingenuous way to interpret that scene. Yeah, that's the words I'm gonna go with. I think that's a very disingenuous way to interpret that scene, because in that scene, that whole scene in general, which is why these people who have so much to say about it, why they all seem to struggle with understanding it, is because you don't get that that scene is not supposed to be about anybody else but the fact that Vi is finally being able to choose herself and take control of her life for once. That is literally what that scene is supposed to be about. That's what it's symbolism for. But there are so many people who seem to just they keep trying to twist it and low-key just bastardize like the meaning or symbolism of that scene, and I think it's just really weird. It's weird to do so. You don't have to like the ship, you don't have to like the scene, but like let's not just make up like weird, like kind of malicious shit about the scene for no reason. Like I just feel like that's when we're starting to like enter like weird and weirdo territory, because that's just not what the scene was. Like, God forbid Vi wants to be an eater. God forbid Vi wants to be an eater. She cannot be an eater because the girl who she's eating out is somebody who's richer than her. Like, like I get so sick of like, I'm so tired. Like, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. Like, it's like sometimes it's okay. It's okay to take a break from like thinking too much, because sometimes thinking a lot is not good for you. I think for a lot of you guys, you think too much, and that isn't good for you, because that is what the definition of this take is. It's called thinking too much. Thinking too much and not thinking effectively, because thinking a lot doesn't mean that you are smart. Doesn't mean that you have good thoughts. And in that scene now, me addressing people who think that it's distasteful because of Jinx. Jinx literally tells her before that scene. She tells her before, she locks her in and all of that. She tells Vi that she shouldn't go after her anymore. Like, she's literally like, you're never gonna give up on me, are you? So like she literally knows, like Jinx in her head knows she's like, Vi is never gonna stop chasing after me unless I actually tell her to stop, unless I get her to stop. So she literally locks her in the cell to make her stop going after her. So I do not understand the people who are like, oh, but that's so messed up of Vi. She just had sex with her girlfriend like while her sister was suicidal in the cell alone. Like, first off, how is Vi supposed to be able to tell that Jinx was suicidal? Because people are like, oh, it was obvious. Like again, now we're gonna get back into this whole conversation of how we display trauma, because you lot are the same people who say that Vi's trauma wasn't depicted well enough, or that they overlooked her trauma. So like I don't understand, because to me, I don't necessarily feel like Jinx was acting any particular way that was different to how she was in the show before. Like, I'm not saying that you couldn't see that she was sad, but you could have just read it as she was just upset because Isha had died, not because that she actually wanted to kick the bucket. Like, I don't know, that's like, I feel like we're just being disingenuous now. We're being disingenuous. I don't think anyone would have been able to actually properly tell that this was the exact emotion that Jinx was feeling. Obviously, we could see in her face that she was sad, but I mean, I don't know. And what exactly did you want Vi to do about that when she literally told her, don't come after me? Jinx told her, do not follow me. Do not follow me. I don't want you to follow me so bad. I'm going to punch you and lock you in here. Like, after that, bro, the message is clear. I'm not following after you. Like, I'm not following after you at that point. Even in that scene, yeah, I feel like so many people are so disingenuous with the way they're like, oh, why did they just start having sex like out of nowhere after like Jinx was literally just in the cell? First of all, like like you frame your takes so disingenuously and pejoratively, because you're already like, I can already tell you're biased just in the way you talk about it, because that was not what happened. That is not what happened. Stop talking about it like that's what happened. Mind you, the context for this conversation that Caitlyn and Vi have is literally like, both of them at that point when they had that conversation, they both thought that the other didn't want anything to do with them at that point. Caitlyn thought that Vi didn't want to be with her no more because, you know, she had locked Jinx away, and you know, like, she thought that the relationship was over at that point because Caitlyn had also chucked away her morals at one point, and you know, did stuff that Vi probably wouldn't have approved of. So she thought in this moment that Vi didn't want nothing to do with her anymore. And then on the other side, Vi thought that Kate didn't want nothing to do with her anymore either, because of the fact that she didn't want to continue helping her go after Jinx anymore. What was the last thing that Vi said to her in the conversation? She was like saying that she felt like Caitlyn was starting to act like Jinx. So I'm pretty sure after that as well, Vi is feeling like, okay, I said some things that probably also upset her. So like, they're both thinking like the exact same thing at that point. Like, yeah, she don't want nothing to do with me. Like, you know, there's no chance anymore. And then when they both talk to each other and they realize that they actually still want to be together, like, they're both overwhelmed by like the amount of relief that they feel in that moment. Like, I just don't, like, you lot are making me feel like I'm like some like professor or something, like giving this analysis. Like, is it not obvious? Like, isn't it not obvious to you? Like, I'm just so confused. Like, you can just watch the show. You can actually just watch the show and see it for yourself. Why am I having to explain it to you like you're 5 years old? I don't get it. Like, this is literally what is happening, right? They both feel immense relief and they're also happy because they love each other. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand like what's so difficult for people to grasp about that scene. It's very simple to understand what is happening. Like it's me laughing as well, because I'm just like, that you people can't be serious. Like, your brain has got to be located in your ass. Your brain has to be located in your derriere, bro. Like, it has to be located in your ass, because I just don't get it. I don't get how you're just gonna say, oh, the sex scene was so random. I just didn't get it. Like, why is it there? Like, you suck. Like, you're just like you're just annoying. You're annoying. You aren't literate. Like, you don't understand what you're watching. Okay, let me calm down. Let me collect myself. Sorry, you man know as well, I'm a Caitvi enthusiast, so I just don't like when people start lying on the fam. Like, don't lie on my family like that. Do not come for my family like that. Don't do them like that, because it was very simple to understand, and the ones that got it, got it. So I don't know what else to tell you. I've explained it to you now. If you still don't understand it after that, well, then I don't know what to tell you. You just might need to go back to school. I don't know. You might need to open a book I just don't get how anyone watched that scene and what you were thinking about in that moment was Jinx. I don't care if this sounds like, you know, insensitive or whatever, or like oh, that's so mean. I did not care. Like, I did not care about Jinx at all when I was watching that scene. All I was thinking was, oh my gosh, they're going to get back together. Oh my gosh, it's not over. I was cheering when I was watching that scene, bro. I was not thinking about Jinx, like, bro. Not that that's me saying I don't care about her, but I was not thinking about her. Like, I'm sorry, I don't care. I don't give a fuck about anyone else in that moment. It's not about anyone else but them. Like, oh, God forbid that the lesbians get their moment, right? Look, God forbid that they're the center of attention for once, right? Why are you lot making this girl who doesn't have anything to do with that scene about her? Like, it's not about her. Why are you centering her when it's not about her? Like, it's just weird. Don't do that. Like, stop doing that. Whew. Okay, next talking point or criticism that I want to talk about when it comes to Caitvi is the people who say that they're a propaganda couple. First of all, I just feel like a lot of you, man, like, this is already something as well that I made a TikTok yesterday laughing about the fact, because I just don't understand anyone who watches Arcane and thinks that the show is genuinely propaganda that is trying to tell you cops are good, the enforcers are good, it's a great institution, it's a very, like, well-working institution, when we literally see the opposite of everything that I just said. Like, they're not shown in a good light whatsoever. Also, I feel like a lot of people seem to forget that this show is based upon League of Legends. League of Legends, in that game, Caitlyn and Vi are both, like, they're both enforcers. Like, they are both in that occupation. So realistically in the show, if they're basing it off of that, why would they change their occupation? Like, it, like, just logically, that was what it was gonna be. Like, that was what it was gonna be. And it's like, even at the end of the show, right, I don't even know if it's necessarily implied that, like, Caitlyn and Vi are gonna continue to be enforcers, but I personally interpreted it at the end of the show that, like, they're gonna be doing their own thing. Like, they're not gonna be, like, directly, like, working under that institution anymore, because they saw how flawed it was. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, I just feel like, so even to frame it as, oh yeah, they're just this cop couple, and, you know, their show is just trying to promote cops, and, you know, they're putting lesbians over it so that, you know, people think cops are good. I'm just like, what? And I'm just like, people who give that talking point, I just know you didn't watch the show. You didn't watch the show. You didn't watch the show. And if you did, and you still think that your brain is located in your derriere, it is. Like, I'm sorry, your brain is located in your derriere, because the show does not tell you, and it does not show you at all, that cops are good. You lot don't know what propaganda means, because in order for something to be propaganda, the cops would have to be constantly shown in a good light. We would never see them doing bad things. The first opening scene of Arcane is Vi's parents being killed by enforcers. That's the same show that you lot are saying, it's propaganda, it's propaganda, it's propaganda. Like, you're dumb. You're dumb. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, the show literally shows you that the institution sucks. That's the point. That is literally the point. But okay. Next is the one that I want to talk about, because this is a quick one that I saw people on Twitter saying. But there are people who believe that Vi was apparently manipulated by Caitlyn, or that in the beginning Caitlyn just wanted to use her for info on Silco. First of all, yes, Caitlyn initially wanted to free Vi, or she questioned Vi because of getting info on Silco, but to frame it as that was her manipulating Vi, to frame it as that, to me, again, is just disingenuous, because we literally see in that scene, like, Caitlyn comes across very ignorant, like, and quite frankly, rude, like, up herself. Like, she just doesn't come across as, like, a very, like, approachable person, right? So Vi doesn't really like her vibe too much. So she's like, okay, bun you, like, you just, like, come across as the average, like, topsider. You're just too ignorant. I don't want to talk to you. As Caitlyn is walking away, she's like saying, oh, okay, I'll just go investigate by myself. Vi is literally like, the Undercity is gonna eat you alive, like you're gonna be basically cooked without me. So that convinces Caitlyn to go and let her, like, get her out of jail. So I'm confused on how people are like, oh, well, Caitlyn actually manipulated Vi into, you know, working with her and, you know, working to take down Silco and da da. I'm like, what? Like, why do you lot keep trying to portray Vi as like this person who has no agency just because she's of a lower economic status? Like, that is not the take you think it is. Like, I'm sorry, I'm here to tell you right now, that is not the take you think it is. It's not. And there's too many of you people who like keep regurgitating this type of like rhetoric. No, it's not slay, it's not progressive to frame the poor person as somebody who doesn't have any sort of autonomy. Like, it's weird. Like, no, she has autonomy. Like, she has autonomy, she can make decisions for herself. It's so weird to just frame her as like this damsel in distress, this like little baby who just, she doesn't know what she's doing. It's just again the same syndrome of making Caitlyn into the bad guy in every single scenario just because you dislike her. Like, stop lying, stop twisting the story, stop trying to deny canon just because you don't like her character. Like, it would be so much easier for you to say, yeah, I just didn't like Caitlyn, she came across as annoying, she came across as self-centered, da da da, all this shit. You could just say that and move on. Like, gosh, you people are exhausting. Next criticism or talking point that I want to talk about in relation to Caitvi is the whole conversation surrounding the last scene where Caitlyn asks Vi if she's still in this fight. And then Vi responds with, I'm the dirt under your nails, nothing's gonna clean me out. And basically people seeing this as like an inappropriate line, and Vi is calling herself dirt. Now, I'm gonna give a disclaimer because I just feel like somebody's gonna be annoying as fuck in the comments and say, oh, well, I still don't like the scene anyway, it was still corny and da da. I don't care whether you thought it was corny or not, whether you think the scene was cute or not. Like, that's not even what I'm discussing. So yeah, have your opinion. You don't need to tell me in the comments either, oh, I still thought the it was a bad line and whatever. Like, literally whatever. This is me trying to address the people who try to disingenuously frame it as, oh, Vi is calling herself dirt. Why would they put that type of line in there? Like, it's clearly subjugating her. This line is so obviously a metaphor. It's so obviously a metaphor, and it's very clearly trying to symbolize what type of person Vi is. And I actually got this explanation from somebody on Twitter. I don't remember exactly what the account was because I was going through a lot of stuff online very quickly. But basically, that line is supposed to be a metaphor symbolizing that she comes from this working class community that values hard work and like getting your hands dirty. Like, that's reflected as well in the show by like the way she talks to her family. Like, literally her and Powder at one point in the show made a joke about how their mum used to smell like I can't remember what exactly they said, but they said something along the lines of that their mum used to smell like, I don't know if they said something like grease or like smoke or like some type of fume something, but just something along the lines of, you know, like doing manual labor, that like doing that type of job, so she would smell like, you know, the stuff of whatever occupation she was doing, the materials that they would be using there. So it's basically Vi trying to say that she sees Kate as like family now, like she sees her as home. So she says nothing is gonna clean me out because she's like, they're locked in, like she's gonna stay, like she's not leaving. That scene is supposed to make a callback to how Vi has lived a really hard life and has worked really hard to protect the people she loves, because that's a huge part of her characterization. And like, that's what that line is supposed to be basically connoting to. That is basically like saying that Vi gets in the paint. Like, Vi gets in the paint and she gets in the paint for the people that she loves, so she's not gonna leave. Like it's supposed to be endearing, not demeaning to her character, but I guess some people, they just refuse to see it any other way. It's not supposed to be degrading her, like, at all. That's personally what I would agree with, what the interpretation of it is. It's supposed to be connoting to how hard, like how the hard life Vi's lived and how hard she goes for the people she loves. You know, she gets herself dirty in order to protect people, to protect what she loves, things like that. That's what I agree with seeing the scene as. There might be other people who have different interpretations and whatever. Interpreting it or trying to frame it as this thing that, oh, is just trying to subjugate Vi because she's lower class and, you know, she's basically calling herself dirt. No, that, like, now that's you kind of showing your bias, because nobody said that Vi was dirt. But okay. Okay, so now, next person that I want to get into, which is one that I actually have a lot to say about, because I just feel like a lot of her fans do not understand her at all. And I actually think it's quite tragic as well, because I do really like her character and I enjoyed her arc, I enjoyed her story. I think the way in which they portrayed her and wrote her story as well was really compelling. Like, I really liked her. So the next person I'm going to be talking about is Jinx. The main talking point that I want to address that people seem to have, like this opinion they have about Jinx, is that they see her as a revolutionary, or that she was completely motivated by her oppression. I just feel like that is a completely inaccurate way to portray her character, because I just don't feel like, to the people who genuinely have this opinion, I feel like you watched a different Arcane. Like, I'm sorry, I feel like you watched a different Arcane, because the Jinx I saw on screen was not one who was motivated politically. Like, not at all. Like, Jinx's entire arc is quite literally the loudest display of trauma of an individual that I've ever seen. It is right in your face with like the trauma, how much she is fueled by these things that have happened to her in her life. I just don't get how anyone would try and frame it as anything else, because that's just not her motivations. Majority of her arc has nothing to do with, I guess, how she, you know, her wanting to liberate Zorn or whatever. Like, she, for the most part, doesn't really care too tough about that. Jinx ultimately just wants to be loved, actually, and wants a family, because she was never able to properly have that. Obviously, her actual biological parents were killed. Then she was adopted by Vanda. You know, she had her siblings for a few years. Then they also all died. Then she was separated from her sister. Then this man came and, you know, took her. Now he's, you know, taking her under her wing and she's kind of his daughter. Like, she's never really had this stable family and this love before. So literally all her actions in the show is like, that is what's fueling it. Like, literally she's doing all these things because of the fact that she wants family, she wants to be loved. Literally, the first time that Vi goes to find her, because she lights the flare, right, for Vi to come and find her, when Vi finds her, the first thing that she's worried about is whether Vi is still gonna love her, because she's so different now. She's not the same she's not the same person, she's not Powder anymore. Like, literally, that is what she's worried about the most. Yes, she does certain things because she hates Piltover, but like, to frame it as, oh, she was trying to liberate Zorn, like, no, she wasn't. Like, no, she wasn't. I'm so sorry. She was not worried about the betterment of the city as a whole. Like, yes, she did make herself become this revolutionary figure. She accepted that title or that position, but she was not like some sort of, you know, freedom fighter or something. Like, she was not trying to fight to, you know, liberate Zorn and down all this stuff. Like, I feel like the way in which the Jinxes saw Jinx in the show is actually, to me, it's kind of similar to how I see stan culture, low-key. It's this idea of, they chose this image. They liked the aesthetic of Jinx in general. They liked the colors, they liked the fashion, everything. They liked the blue hair. They liked this aesthetic and they liked this person to represent this idea that they had, right? So they took this image of her. They don't actually know her, right? None of these people know her. They've never spoken to her. They've never met her. They took this image of her, right? And they decided to basically build this person, this persona around this image of this girl that they had. So they decided to take this image of this teenage girl and basically prop her up into being this revolutionary figure, even though she has not actually ever publicly said anything that would make you think that she is a revolutionary figure. And that the reason why I say I think it's similar to stan culture is the same way I think a lot of people who are fans of certain artists, they prop up these artists or think they take this image of this artist that they see in their head based upon their aesthetic or whatever, or what their music, the vibe it gives to them, and they will basically make them into this person. They basically make up this image or persona in their head. So it's like when they actually meet this girl in real life, right, or they meet this person, then it's like, oh, this person isn't actually like what I imagine them to be like at all, because the reality is you don't actually know them. Like, who's somebody that's a great example? Gwen Stefani, like her early career is a great example of like that thing that I'm trying to talk about with stan culture and Jinx, because a lot of people saw her aesthetics and, you know, some of the stuff that she would talk about in her music and whatever, it would make them think that Gwen Stefani, you know, she just looks so cool. I love her aesthetic. So they would kind of prop her up as like this cool girl, and also kind of like this, you know, feminist, like feminist adjacent figure. So she was like hyped up. People saw her as like this kind of left-leaning person, even though she never publicly ever gave any sort of left-leaning opinions or views or perspective, right? They saw her as that. So then now they are shocked now that we have Gwen Stefani now, who is now Catholic, and, you know, she's conservative and da da da. It's like this idea, you basically latched onto this aesthetic that you saw and whatever image this person is trying to show to everyone else, and you basically formed this entire persona and person based upon that, even though you don't have any actual material to think that like, even in the scene where we see where Jinx breaks all these people out of Stillwater and they're all interacting with her, right? She doesn't come across like, she's not this super confident and outspoken person at all. Like, she's very quiet and she's awkward, and like these people, they're kind of just like, they, when she breaks them out, they're like waiting for her to do something or for her to like say something, and she doesn't say anything. And the scene that I like to reference when I talk about this conversation of seeing Jinx as a revolutionary or not, the scene that I like to talk about is the scene where, I think it's in episode 9, or is it episode, yeah, I don't know, the end of season 1 basically. It's basically the scene where Jinx like brings all of them, she kidnaps all three, like Silco, Vi and Caitlyn, and she brings them to the dinner table. And basically in this conversation, Vi is trying to speak to Jinx, and she's trying to like reason with her and get Jinx to listen to her, and she calls her powder in that scene. And then once Jinx like takes off Silco's mask to like get his perspective, Silco is like, no, her name is Jinx. And basically Jinx is just kind of like, she starts, you know, kind of becoming hysterical because she doesn't really know who she can believe or who she can trust. She doesn't know. And also in this moment as well, she kidnaps Caitlyn because she sees Caitlyn as like the thing that to Vi is like most precious now, because she almost feels like Caitlyn has kind of replaced her. She's no longer the thing that Vi values the most or cares about the most. So now she's basically just like, well, which version of myself should I be? Should I go back to being powder and, you know, go off with Vi? Or should I just lean fully into Jinx and stay with Silco? And basically in that scene, she ends up killing Silco because starts to basically argue with him, being like, well, you don't actually love me, you just want to use me. She ends up killing him, and after that she doesn't feel like there's anything left. She feels like Silco was like the only last person who had a chance at loving her, because in that scene as well, you'll also notice that like Jinx keeps asking Vi if there's a chance, like, can we get back to how we were before, like, will you still love me, do you still love me, because that's the thing that she cares about most. But There'll be some Jinx fans who still try to tell you that's not what she's worried about, that she's a political princess. No. No. That girl wants family. She wants family and she wants to be loved. Like, that's why she's doing what she's doing. Everything that she does, really, and this is again not me trying to, you know, reduce the ramifications of the things that she did, because she did terrible things, but a lot of the shit that she does is to get attention. She's trying to get attention, specifically Vi's attention. Like, she wants Vi to come to chase after her, whatever. Like, she's trying to get attention. Like, that's the point. She wants Vi to keep coming after her. She's doing all these things because she wants someone to pay attention to her. In that scene, that's like that's why Jinx ends up leaving, and then she goes and shoots the council, because at that point she's like, well, my sister has basically chosen this new girl over me. She won't love me anymore because I'm a completely different person. I'm not Powder anymore. So she basically buries Powder, and then she shoots the council, and she does that because she's like, well, now I don't really have anything else to worry about. There's nothing else that, like, I'm not throwing anything away by doing this catastrophic thing. Because obviously, if she still wanted to have a life with her sister, right, doing something like that, which would probably land her in jail for like the rest of her life, that wouldn't be a wise idea. But because she no longer has anything to fight for, any person to love her, she's basically just like, okay, well, I might as well just do what I want now. So she does something like that. Because there are people who are like, oh, she bombed the council for political reasons. And I mean, yes, she did, because she wanted to hurt Piltover. That's like the most centralized place that you could hit them, to like hit them where it really hurts. But she also did that because she no longer had anything to like fight for. There was nothing left for her. So she was like, well, yeah, I can do this crazy thing now, because like, who's gonna check me? Like, who's gonna check me? Yeah. And I just also think as well, like, I know Jinx is the most popular character from the show, and a lot of people, you know, they see her as like this girl boss, and you know, she's a revolutionary and da da da. But I just think it's interesting as well, because there's a lot of people as well who are Jinx fans and see her this way. They like describe themselves as leftists and things like that, and it's like, you would think that they would like or appreciate characters like Echo more, but it's like that level of like appreciation is not there at all. And it's like, Echo is actually a character who really did care about his city. He really did care about his people. He wanted liberation, and he was actively working towards that. He even created a new community for his people. Like, that's actually real revolutionary work, right? Not just like bombing and like attacking people with no tact. Like, that's actually like real revolutionary stuff, right? And even if you wanted to argue with someone like a Savika, because Savika, and I mean, I get as well, Jinx is a main character, but it's just like, you would think that these people would include, like, in their conversations of like these characters who are revolutionaries and da, you would think that you know, they would be mentioned more, but it's not. You know, this mentally ill white girl who's a teenager is seen as the most revolutionary character over somebody who was actually doing like real grassroots work. Like, I just think that's a very interesting take. And by the way, this is not me saying as well that Jinx never cared about the oppression that she was experiencing or other people in Piltover were experiencing, but her main objective was never about freeing Zorn. That's just what I want to make clear. Jinx was not interested in Zorn being free. Like, that was not her main objective. She wanted to hurt Piltover, yes, but was she worried about actually fixing the city and giving them independence? No. Like, at best, what she did was co-opt a movement that was started by other people who were actually interested in these things, right? Because let's say the show had ended up with, you know, Piltover going down and whatever. Do we really think Jinx would have been in charge of organizing, you know, rebuilding the city and all of these things and, you know, fixing it? She would not have been organized in that. Okay, next criticism that I want to talk about is people who say that Jinx wasn't like a bad person at all in the show and that she was completely justified. I just feel like we need to be for real, because this is not me demonizing Jinx. I like her character. Like, her story, her arc is like one of my top 3 in the show. Like, I thought her story was great. But I'll have to be honest, she was a bad person at one point in the show. She was, and that is okay. She was a mentally ill teenager, and she had a lot of trauma. A lot of trauma which she did not know how to handle or approach, which is normal for a teenager. Like, do you not know any teenagers who know how to handle their trauma? Like, let's just be honest. Like, that's fine. Like, she doesn't need to be demonized for doing that, right? I don't believe in demonizing Jinx because, you know, she had this trauma, she didn't really know how to approach it or handle it. But I just think the reality is with Jinx is that her trauma manifested in a way where she became quite self-centered at times and didn't fully think through with a lot of her actions. Like, I think a lot of people also like forget about the fact that Jinx, like, even if you want to say, okay, even if Jinx did kill or hurt people, it was people who oppressed her. Jinx also killed Firelights. Like, she killed Firelights, people who are from Echo's camp, people who are just trying to help the Zorn gain independence. Like, do you know what I mean? They weren't bad people at all. She killed people like that. So it's like, let's not try and frame it as if she was completely justified in every single thing that she did. Like, she wasn't, and it is okay because nuance is allowed. Like, this show, like, believe it or not, this show is very much like, it was very much a great example of why nuance nuance needs to be and should be allowed, because almost all of the characters in the show are nuanced. It's not just black and white, but so many people in this fandom want it to be black and white. The way in which her trauma manifested in terms of her personality, that is a common way in which trauma can manifest. And I am speaking from experience as well, because I was kind of like that, low-key, like this that being kind of, you know, stuck in your own head and not really thinking about other people or how you may be affecting other people or how other people are taking you in. Like, that's normal. Like, that is normal and that can happen. And I feel like the people who try and like say, oh no, Jinx isn't that, like, you know, why are you trying to make her sound like a terrible person? I don't like the idea of trying to categorize people whose trauma like manifests in that way as like they're just terrible people who are like super mean and da da da. Like, nuance is allowed. It's okay. Like, you can you can be like not a great friend, not a great sister, da da, all these things. You can do that and still not be like a terrible person, right? You are allowed to be mentally ill and have your trauma like not always manifest in like the most digestible way, because the reality is that happens. Sometimes people's trauma doesn't manifest in a digestible way, and I feel like with Jinx, her trauma didn't manifest in a way that is digestible to a lot of her fans, so they just try and change who she is. It's like, no, you don't need to do that. Do it like actually admitting that this is the way that she is, this is how her trauma manifests. Yes, she does become less empathetic, she is kind of apathetic at some points. I like actually admitting that is part of her nuance, is part of her characterization. Like, it's like a huge part of understanding her arc and why she does the things she does. Like, that is the mentality and like the mind space that she is operating from majority of the show. That is why she does things, why it comes across so careless, because she's not like actually thinking, like she's not actually thinking properly. The people who try and like run away from that fact, I just feel like you're doing her character a huge disservice. Like, that her being this person who like struggles to have empathy and does things without thinking, that is a huge part of her character, that is a huge part of her characterization, and it actually helps you understand her character and the things she does way more. So why ignore that or say that that's not the truth? So next character I want to talk about is Mel. There are two main criticisms that I've seen with her character that just really irritate me. The disingenuous nature of like a lot of people in this fandom. So the first one I've seen is people who say that they put Mel, like the writers, they put her into a disposable black girlfriend trope. I'm just gonna be honest, I don't think they did that at all. The reason why she ended up single in the show is because Jace dies. And if anything, the people who are doing the disposable black girlfriend trope to her are the JVIC fandom. I don't know, I feel like some people are kind of conflating the two. Like, I don't know, the writers, I feel like for the most part, the writers did Mel just. The only thing that she suffered from, which is I feel like all the characters in the show suffered from, was for the pacing of the show. She obviously could have had more screen time. We could have gotten more elaboration on her whole, Black Rose storyline and everything. Everyone could have gotten more time and elaboration. It's just a flaw with season two and its pacing. So I don't think it's something that's specific to Mel. The only people who be doing disposable black girlfriend trope with her are JVICs. Like these JVIC people who are making fucking fanfics about her being tortured and experimented on, or the people who are making cock art of her, or people who just act like she doesn't exist, like the people who just pretend like her and Jace were never a thing, they were never in a relationship, all this stuff. Like Mel and Jace had a very real relationship, and Mel opened up emotionally. Like that's a huge part of her characterization as well. Her learning to open up, her learning to be vulnerable, because she didn't grow up in an environment, Ambessa. She didn't grow up in an environment where that was encouraged or where she, did that regularly. Yeah, to actively ignore that is just strange to me. And like Jace literally adored Mel and she adored him too. So I just feel like it's strange to say that they made her disposable. And the thing is as well, they didn't just toss her away after her and Jace's relationship ended because she had her own plot, like the whole Black Rose thing. So I don't like even like didn't they literally say as well that like they're planning to make like a Noxus series or whatever? So like Mel will be getting her own like story too. So like how is she a disposable black girlfriend? Like she's not disposable. Like she has her own story going. So I don't get people who be saying that. I just feel like you might just be trying to say that because you yourself chose to not engage with her character properly, because she was not disposed of at all. And the next one I want to talk about is people who say that Mel manipulated Jace. First off, I'm gonna say this tendency that people have to just throw Mel into this racist ass trope of basically making her seem like some sort of Jezebel, that she was just there to like, she was just a temptress that like was trying to seduce Jason, use him. Like that just it gives anti-black. Like I'm sorry, you give anti-black. Like think about the misogynoir that you might be peddling right now, because I'm just not entertaining that talking point, because Mel showed multiple times that she cared about Jace on a personal level. Like, did she initially entertain him for political reasons? Yes. But she very quickly started showing genuine affection towards him. Like, when Victor almost died and Jace was trying to keep him alive, Mel was showing concern for Jace's well being, and also Jace's original vision for Hex Tech, right? So she was still very much concerned about what he had going on. She wasn't just she wasn't just choosing to stick around because she needed him. I've seen some people also argue that, the power imbalance, like some JVICs have said, oh well, I don't like Mel and Jace because they're like from two opposing classes or whatever. There's a power imbalance because Mel is way more politically powerful and she has way more money than him. But Mel and Jace don't even become intimate or like become involved like romantically until Jace is a council member. So I don't even get people who are like, oh well, I just don't like the power imbalance in the couple. What power imbalance? And even then, if you want to say that, while they were both on the council, wasn't Jace the one who literally decided to get Heimerdinger kicked off the council? Like, he made that choice by himself. Mel had nothing to do with that. She didn't tell him to do that. He did that on his own. So I'm very confused on this whole thing. Oh, Jace didn't have autonomy. He completely had autonomy. If he didn't want to be associated with Mel, he could have done that. Like, no one was holding a gun to his head. And the last part that I'm going to be talking about in this video is just the overall bad takes that I've seen from people within the fandom. So the first one I'm going to talk about is criticizing or disliking any ships, particularly for being oppressor x oppressed. I just don't like, are you being for real? Because almost every ship in this show is oppressor or oppressed, or people who are not completely on the same social level when it comes to like the class and things like that, or how much money they have. And I just don't even think that that's really a valid critique. I feel like it's a pretty weak critique, if I'm going to be honest. Like, you don't like a ship because somebody is richer. Like, and I just feel like say, to me it just sounds like you're basically saying privileged people and marginalized people cannot date each other. Like, So in real life, do you tell interracial couples that they can't be together? Like you tell a white man who is with like a black woman that they can't be together because she is socially more oppressed than he is, or that he's her oppressor. Okay, like like I don't understand. Like, do you tell heterosexual couples that they can't be together because the man is you know, he doesn't suffer from misogyny, he's her oppressor? Like, I just feel like it's just, it's kind of dumb. Like, it's just dumb. Yeah, I don't know, since when has it been like illegal or like a terrible thing if like someone who is more privileged is with someone who's less privileged? Like, I don't understand. And then the next one I want to talk about is people who complain that the writers dropped the class conflict. I personally just do not understand people who say this, because I feel like, again, it's people suffering from the same syndrome of, oh, the show didn't fit my headcanon, so now I have to complain to the writers. The writers are the problem, that they didn't follow my headcanon. Because I'm sorry, the class conflict was always secondary to the main plot. Like, the main plot is about Vi and Jinx. It's about the two sisters. The class conflict was there to give more context to the characters and help us understand them better. It gives context to us to understand who they are, where they come from, why they make the decisions they do, why the story goes the way it does. I don't get, like, it was always supposed to be like a backdrop. Like, it's always been secondary. That, like, it's not the main plot. It isn't the main plot, and I feel like a lot of people thought that that was going to become the story itself. But I just personally feel like it would not have made sense for the plot. I don't think the show would have made sense if it became Zorn versus Piltover in season 2. I just don't feel like it would have made sense. It wouldn't have made sense for multiple reasons. First off, because of the fact that the show is based upon pre-existing lore for a game. Also, in said game as well, Zorn and Piltover are still at odds. So I'd like, this class conflict or whatever would not have been able to be fixed in the show within 2 seasons. That's just my personal opinion. I also think that it just wouldn't have made sense because the way in which the story was going, they were trying to canonize certain relationships, like making Caitlyn and Vi canon. Like, that probably would not have worked if the show became a flipping civil war between Zorn and Piltover. Like, it just wouldn't have worked. And I also feel like, for in terms of the story between Vi and Jinx as well, I don't know how exactly that story would have wrapped up, or they would have told or finished that story if it became about them going against Piltover. Like, do you get what I mean? It's like, some people, I feel like you did not pay attention to the fact that this show is supposed to be about two sisters. That's why it started with them, and that's why it ended with them, because it is about them. It's not simply just about the places in which they come from. Like, if that's the type of story they wanted to tell, they didn't need to add all these they didn't need to add all these extra characters, and, you know, the like these like complex relationships and shit like that. They wouldn't need to do all that. Like, honestly, in the first season, by abandoning powder and all of that, none of that shit would have needed to happen if it was just going to be a story about, you know, Zorn versus Piltover. And also, the class conflict was added as, shocker, conflict. Like, it was added as a way to add conflict to the show. It's not controversial to say that. This is just basic storytelling. Like, you have to add something to create conflicts between your characters, to drive the plot, to drive the narrative. Like, that's just literally how basic storytelling works. Like, you have the beginning, you have the climax, and then you have the end. Like, you can't have a climax in the show if there's no sort of like conflict or something that creates that in the first place. It's just basic storytelling. Next thing that I want to talk about, which again is relating to this YouTube video that I watched. If you don't know what YouTube video I'm talking about, there's a YouTube video that has made its rounds in the fandom called Arcane Was Always Centrist. And basically, I wanted to talk about the main talking point, which is the title of the video, which is that Arcane or its writers are sent. First of all, what I would have to say to that is the show ends with Caitlyn asking Vi, "Are you still in this fight?" So I personally interpreted this as the fight to fix the caste inequalities in the universe of Arcane still has a long way to go, because if we're talking in terms of what real liberation looks like, it's not a thing that just happens overnight. Shit doesn't just fix itself immediately once you get rid of like your oppressors. You do what I mean? And I think it's also another thing relating to the fact that a lot of people forget that this show is based upon pre-existing law. So the cities in which this show is like based upon, they're still at odds in the game. So they wouldn't be able to just fix it in like 2 seasons of a cartoon. And I just think that a lot of people don't want to admit the fact that they headcanon the show's plot and they're dissatisfied about how the show didn't match that. So they try to find fault with the writers or fans who take the show for what it actually is. And this isn't even me saying that the show is not necessarily centrist or whatever. I just personally feel like in terms of Arcane, I don't feel like, I just feel like the criticism of saying the show is centrist is just not enough. It's not a strong enough criticism to me, because I personally feel like if you want to talk in terms of politically where Arcane aligns itself, that is a very inconsistent argument. Personally, if we're talking in terms of the real life spectrum, right, like it's not really, there's not really a solid place in which you can put Arcane, whether in terms of left or right. I don't feel like there is really a proper place you can put it, even in the center. Which the thing is as well, to me, I would actually even argue that I don't even really think that centrism is a thing. I think that most people who are centrists are just closeted right-wing people who just don't want to, they don't want to fully lean into it. If we're talking in terms of centrism and whatever, like people who are on the left, right, they are for people's liberation, they are for people having human rights, all these things. That is what they are fighting for, right? The people who are on the right, on the antithesis of that, they want to conserve, they want to keep things the way they are. They don't want people to have liberation, they don't want that. So somebody who is in the center, right, you can't really be in the center of that. You can't have like, it logically, it just doesn't make sense for you to say, yeah, I agree with both sides. You can't agree with having rights but also not having rights. It's either you think people should have rights or you don't. I would actually argue that centrism isn't even really a thing. It's just either there's people who are just too scared to say that they're actually on the right, that they don't agree with the things on the left. Like, that's just personally how I feel about the centrism conversation in general. I don't think that it's possible to be a centrist. You are either just a sympathizer towards the right or you're too pussy to like just be fully left leaning. Like, that's just my personal opinion. So that's why I'm like, even if we're talking in terms of, oh, okay, Arcane doesn't really say outwardly it's left or it's right, well, I don't really know what else you would expect from a show that comes from like some billion-dollar company and is on Netflix. Like, what show have you lot watched that's outwardly leftist? I wouldn't say it has the most like consistent politics for you to say where it actually lies on the spectrum. So I just feel like the conversation is redundant because of that. And I feel like even then, I feel like to have that as your focus mainly, oh, the show isn't leftist enough for me, I feel like that's just kind of like, it's a redundant way to consume the show and engage with it, personally, in my opinion. I don't know. When I'm watching TV, I'm not expecting leftism. If that's just my personal opinion. Like, we have to remember, like, this is like Hollywood, like billion-dollar corporations and shit. They're not going to like actually show like proper like leftism on TV. Like, that just isn't a thing. So I'm not saying that I'm for that. Obviously, it would be great if more shows and whatever would actually like be openly leftist and it was made by people who are leftist and they are openly left leaning and da da da. But it's like, the reality is we don't live in that kind of world. We don't live in that kind of world. And again, Arcane doesn't have any sort of real life political properties. So that's why I'm just like, again, to even accuse the show of being centrist, I just feel like, well, what exactly does that mean? What exactly does the show being centrist mean? Like, what does that mean? Because the show doesn't put itself on the real life political spectrum at all. It doesn't give any sort of commentary on real life politics. Like, obviously it condemns like outwardly bad things, but like it doesn't actually say, yeah, this is the story, like this is our political message that us as writers are trying to send. It doesn't do that. So that's why I'm like, that's the fact that that's the focus of the conversation. To me, just, it doesn't make sense and it feels redundant to me. And the next criticism that I want to talk about is people who say that season 2 is trash because it doesn't feel like the same show. And this is specifically me talking to the people who were upset or confused by why Hex Tech became so central in the second season, and why Ambessa and, you know, her wanting to manipulate Caitlyn and then making Caitlyn become, you know, this morally grey person. Like, why did all of that happen? And also to the people who are like, oh, there was too much like magic or hex tech in the season 2, the show is literally called Arcane. Like, the show is literally called Arcane. Why wouldn't it be about the Arcane? That I just don't understand. The people who say that as well, what do you think Jace and Victor, like them doing all that work with Hex Tech and everything, what did you think that was for? Like, that was just for fun, to keep them occupied while like everyone else was doing shit? No. Like, there was a reason why we saw all of that. And then even with Victor as well, in terms of the hex tech, we literally see Victor slowly starting to lose his morals and like his original values and the original vision he had for hex tech. We see him slowly starting to gamble with the idea of having that power for himself. Why do you think we saw all of that if it wasn't going to be any sort of storyline in season 2? Like, of course that was going to be a main storyline. Like, the show was literally setting it up for Victor to become like a problem in season 2 because of how he was starting to become corrupt. And this isn't me saying that you have to love season 2, right? Because I don't completely love season 2. Obviously, I still think that season 1 was the better season in terms of pacing and, you know, just overall. My only gripe with season 2 is the pacing of it. Like, it went too fast. I feel like they could have done 3 seasons personally. That's just my personal opinion. But that is literally my only gripe with season 2. I don't have the immense problems with it the same way all these other people have immense problems with it. I feel like majority of people's criticisms towards this show is just the fact that they don't like the story that was told. You don't like the story that was told and what was intended to always be told. And you just can't accept that fact and move on. You have to make it the writer's problem or just everybody else's problem that you could not understand and comprehend what story was trying to be told here. And the last criticism that I'm going to be talking about is people, this is a new one as well that I've seen, well, it's probably not new, people have probably been saying it, but it's one that I've seen lately, so it's like the newest one that I've seen. But there are people who think that Ambessa isn't as bad as Caitlyn. Like, they basically think that Caitlyn is the worst person in the show. She's the like the most morally corrupt one, that Ambessa is better than her. And I just think that that's like completely ridiculous. That is a completely ridiculous opinion to have. I'm not even going to try and, you know, pussyfoot around that. Like, you just sound ridiculous. You sound dumb. You sound silly. That's it. I honestly, I don't even know what that means to say Ambessa isn't as bad as Caitlyn. Whatever that means. Like, whatever that actually. Like, Ambessa was literally the leader of Noxus. Did you guys pay attention to how Noxus was described in the show? They don't have any sort of chill over there. Like, Kate would never say something like, yeah, Piltover's like, we're too soft, like we're going too soft on like how we treat Zorn and da da da. Like, to even frame it as if they're on the same level is just completely ridiculous, and you sound like a buffoon. Like, I'm sorry, you sound silly. Like, the way in which the fandom just chooses to disengage with Ambessa as a villain in general is so strange. Like, why, like, do you just not believe that black women can be capable of being like evil and vindictive as well? Like, you just don't think that we can do that? You think that, you know, a black female character can't be conniving also? Like, it's just very strange. Like, the show quite literally shows you in the most obvious way that like Ambessa is being manipulative, that she is only working in her own interest. She only cares about herself and what she wants. Literally, you see from the jump that she's conniving. Like, she's a conniving person. She's the most conniving person in this show. And yet there are people who try and tell you that that's not the case, that Caitlyn, yeah, she's worse than her. Like, it's just wild, because based upon the conversations that happen around Caitlyn's character in general, like, people will swear up and down that she's like the terribly classist and calculated individual that Ambessa actually is. Like, I remember when there was a whole conversation on Twitter where people were trying to say that, yeah, Kate didn't show herself gassing the whole city of Zorn because she didn't want the show to portray her as a bad person. Like, trying to act as if Arcane is like a documentary and like Caitlyn, she was like an aware or conscious character of the fact that like she's in a TV show where she's gonna be perceived like, what are you lot talking about? Like, Caitlyn does not know that you fucking exist.
Don't laugh. You can't laugh.
Like, she doesn't know that you exist. Like, what are you talking about? Do you see what I mean by they're just making shit up? Making weird shit up because you don't like her character. Like, why can't we be normal? Why can't we be normal? It's so strange, bro. It's so strange. Anyways, that is it for every single criticism that I wanted to address, or every single bad take that I've seen from this fandom. It's actually crazy because this video I've been filming for almost 2.5 hours. That's crazy. I've been filming this video for ages, and the fact that I've probably not even cracked the surface of how many horrendous takes come from this fandom. These people didn't watch the show. They didn't watch the show. Like, you'll be like, it will actually be scarce to find an Arcane fan that did watch the show, who did actually understand it, who understands their favorite character and other characters. It's crazy. Like, these people watched an entirely different show. They have made an entirely different show up in their head. I am completely fizzled out though, like, from filming this video. Like, bro, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I wish these people would stop terrorizing my flipping algorithms and shit, but they still pop up. I still see this shit all the time. I hope you lot had fun. You were entertained by my commentary, my analysis and all that. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. And if you lot want me to do more Arcane videos, or you want me to talk about more takes or whatever, let me know down below. Also, tell me you lot's opinions on some of these takes. Like, these popular takes of the show. Let me know down below what you think about them, what your interpretations are. We can all just lollygag about how terrible this fandom is. Hope you lot enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next week for my next video. Bye.